Thank you, John. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good evening. Ms. Kelly, good evening. My name's Timothy Posenti. My Pennsylvania Supreme Court identification number is 76478. I'm here on behalf of David Sanchez and Spaceboy Inc. If I may, just by way of a little housekeeping before I proceed, because it's my intention to have Mr. Sanchez address you through testimony. But I submitted, and Ms. Kelly was gracious enough to make copies of different submissions. Number one being a commercial lease dated June 2021, between George Cressy and David Sanchez. That's for the lease of the premises. Mr. Cressy's the owner and landlord. David Sanchez and Spaceboy Inc. is the tenant and applicant tonight before this board. Mr. Cressy's present. Sir, would you just
Yes, my name's George Cressy. I'm the owner of John Cressy Auto Sales, 4101 Market Street in Upper Chi, Pennsylvania.
And did I state correctly, sir, that you're the landlord and owner of 3210 Market Street, the subject property?
I've owned that property for 30 years. Yes, I am. Yes.
And are you in agreement, or do you approve of David Sanchez's application tonight here?
Yeah, very much. I turned a lot of other guys down. I like this guy, and I chose him to rent my property. Yes, I did.
That's the commercial lease. I have a copy. I formed stuff up in what I would maybe consider an official exhibit. The next piece being the notice of the tonight's meeting that was sent to the adjoining properties within the perimeter as prescribed by the statute. Then I have on here the mailing list that I used, along with copies of the green return receipts. If the solicitor requires the originals, I'd certainly hand those. Thank you. I'd like to submit them as evidence. I'm the custodian of those records. I did the letters, sent them out, and got the receipts back. But what I've done is marked up with a check mark everyone where I got a green receipt. Some did not, but not many. Some did not get returned to me. But that's in this packet, as well as the a copy of the U.S. Postal Service receipt showing that these items were placed in the mail on 8/19/2021 in compliance with the 730-day window used or pursuant to the statute. And then I've also enclosed copies, and I would ask this be the official exhibit, of all the letters that I sent to those addressees. Mr. Solicitor, should they be marked maybe 1 and 2? Thank you. With your permission, the green card's 1, and then the letter or correspondence package 2, please. Now I would just like to call David Sanchez. I'm going to give him the mic. I'm going to ask him some questions, and then he's a creative guy, and hopefully you'll learn it. So I asked him to do a video that we're going to play for the board, and that video is going to just show you this is what we are. This is what the company does. Can he be seated? Okay, would you please tell the board your name?
David Sanchez.
And who's the owner of Spaceboy Inc.?
That would be me.
And what do you do there?
I do a little bit of everything. I handle customer relations, a little bit of art design. I control a lot of the printing, a lot of the jobs that go in and out of the business, and pretty much anything that has to be done.
And the location Upper Chichester Township, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, is your second location, correct?
Yes.
And when did you start the business?
We started in 2009
Okay. And where did you start the business?
in Wilmington, Delaware.
And do you have that location still open?
Yes.
And what's the address of that?
That is 706 North Market Street. It's right downtown.
And then do you run your own print shop?
Yes.
And where's that located?
That's also in Wilmington. It's not in the same location as the downtown address. It's a separate location.
Now, personally, and you and I were discussing this. You're a Delaware guy, right?
I am.
But you recently moved where?
To Aston?
Okay. And when you moved to Aston, did you start looking for sites for a new outlet?
Not right away. I had the idea in mind, and I would frequently pass the current location that I'm in now, and it had a for rent sign in the window and kept calling to me. So I kind of looked into it. I tracked down George and kind of went from there.
And what I call the upper chai shop. What are the hours there?
10 to
Business hours.
10 to 5 Monday through Friday and noon to 5 on Saturdays.
Is it correct if that's a showroom for the products you make?
Yes, it's very simple. You kind of walk in, you see some blanks, you can feel fabrics and check out colors and different brands and stuff like that. We kind of go through some pricing options, and you place your orders there and pick up there as well.
You took a number of photos that you submitted to the council in advance of this.
Yes, I wanted just to kind of, show the before and afters.
Okay. Do these photos look familiar to you?
Yes, we do.
In fact, they did photos.
Yes.
Now, if you could, what's the first photo show?
The
May I-
first,
Give us a copy. Barbara, would you like to have the- When I was looking to get it, first photo.
the first photo is the building as is. That's the first thing I saw. I drive down 452 Market Street every day to go down to Wilmington. So
That's the state the building was in when you entered into a lease with Mr. Krezi.
yes,
Okay, and what's the second page? If you please flip to page 2. And what's that a photo of?
that's the same building. It's just a front shot.
And the front of that building, there was a sign and says Elite Autos.
Yeah, just a regular little banner there.
Okay, and what's if you don't mind, the next picture?
That is the back end of the building, and you can't really see the side because there was a little makeshift garage on the side there.
Yeah, so when you say makeshift garage, are you referring to the big blue tarp thing sticking out?
Yes.
Okay, and that's gone, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you've cleaned that area up, correct?
Yes.
Okay. If you could flip to the next page, please. What's that a photo of?
That is the current state of what the building is in now.
And that's your company.
Yes.
Okay. And that's page 4 of what's marked Exhibit 3 for purposes of identification. Please flip to page 5. So,
Photos?
sure. Yeah, I'm technologically impaired. Dave put together a nice video,
I
but
could-
these pictures aren't included. Yeah.
I could forward you an email.
Or do you want to, can they just go on an overhead or is that a pain?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I thanked you earlier, Ms. I did, but I put them in an order conducive to my mind to ask David a bunch of questions, and we met last week and kind of planned. So I appreciate that. And that's why I was confident. I don't think you need it. I think we can continue.
All right. All right.
Okay, so may we continue? Okay, and we can, and Dave can digitally transmit like via email. That's pretty easy, I think, to ship to. All right, so then you get to the next picture.
This is the right wall. I hired a professional artist to paint this for me.
Is now,
I don't know if
what
that's the
is that
same
a bunch
picture
of
you guys have.
sheets? Tell how it's fabricated, please.
It's just plywood screwed to the building, and then the artist painted on the plywood. I primed it, I weatherproofed it, and he painted on top.
And then what's the next photo?
That is a picture of me working on the mural for the left side of the building.
Now, so you drew that robot figure, correct?
I did, yes.
And is it correct to say that as a designer, a graphic designer, the creativity is part and parcel of your business? And that is to say, what you project to the public has to be a message that includes you can do unique, and I don't want to speak for you, but tell us what you want to project to the public when you conduct the kind of business you conduct.
It was very important to me that as people drove by, one, they would notice the building and also get just the strongest creative vibe possible. My business is based around creativity. We're an art-based company, and I was just trying to express that to the best of my ability.
So even though you could print, like if I came to you and said Vicente Family Reunion shirts, you could do that. I could also come to you with some ideas I'm kicking around, and you would create the artwork and produce a unique T-shirt that I couldn't get elsewhere. Is that
Yes.
correct to say?
Mhm.
Okay. And does your signage, in your view, reflect that?
I believe so, yes.
I'll ask you to flip to the next page, Dave. And what's that a picture of?
That's the completed version of the mural I was working on in the last photo.
And that's all. I marked them collectively C. If that's insufficient, I can make them three. I'm sorry, collectively 3. If that's insufficient for you, John, I'll go 3A, B. I'm gonna turn this in. And that's more pictures of the building, including your artwork.
Yes, and then
And
this is a picture of the front of the building.
That has a sign where the same place the Elite Motor sign was, correct?
Yes.
And then it has 2 benches in front of the building that are separate from that.
Yeah, I thought
Really?
benches would be nice. Someplace to sit. It looks a little more welcoming.
And then the next photo, please.
Just a different angle of the front and the right side of the building.
The next photo.
It's the front and the left side of the building.
Okay. And then finish that off and I'll mark it for you.
This is the mural that's on the one side of the building, full on.
I'm going to correctly mark it in the full. I'm going to go 3 collectively, then 3 1. Just to identify the model.
This is the front and side of the building. It's more of a wide shot, and you can see the sign in front. That's not in the ground. It's just a standing sign in front as well. No, sir. I've just received many compliments. Hi, I'm David Sanchez, owner of Spaceboy Clothing in Wilmington, Delaware, and also the new Spaceboy Ink Hub here located in Upper Chi. I'm an artist, musician, and I've been working in the custom print industry for over 20 years. Spaceboy started back in 2009. We have a store location in downtown Wilmington on North Market Street. There, we have a clothing boutique where we sell our own line of graphic t-shirts, vintage goods, and also offer custom screen printing and design services. In Wilmington, we are known for our artistic vibe, and we also host live music and comedy events. I just recently moved to Aston, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to grow my business. In July, I opened Spaceboy Inc. It's a small print hub location where customers can check out samples, get pricing, place orders, and pick up their custom print jobs in one spot. All print production is done in our screen printing studio in Wilmington.
We have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and take pride in our work. I really do enjoy helping our customers with their projects, meeting fellow business owners, and I really look forward to being part of the Delco community.
And who created that video, Dave?
I did.
And just to be clear, the manufacturing side and the printing side is done. It's not done in Upper Chai, it's done in the warehouse, correct?
Yes.
And just to be clear, there are no plans for live music or like small store in Upper Chai, correct?
No.
And the hours you told the board, doing it Monday through Friday, 10 to 5, and then Saturday, 12 to 5. Those are the hours it's open. But if I come in, it's like a showroom. I look at some existing work and take it from there, correct?
Correct.
Is there anything you would like to add to the members of the board?
I'm really excited to be here. I really wanted to change it up a little bit. As far as marketing my business, I over the years I've learned that paying for ads online, social media, Facebook, Instagram, Google, I feel like I didn't really see much of a difference or an outcome. I do get reports from Google every day or every week saying I got so many clicks, but I feel like having a physical location and something that pops and something that looks fun and something that represents my business to its fullest ability is important. People hire me to design marketing packets for them, design websites, and do just creative stuff like that. And I just really wanted to do my best to attract attention to my to the building, to obviously, build a good big clientele and be as successful as possible.
I introduced Mr. Krezi when we started. Would you let the board know who else is sitting here with you?
This is my fiance, Lindsay April, and this is her brother, David Segich.
I could say to the board too that I did not receive any communication, positive or negative, after sending out those notes. In fact, the opposite. I was that's Crystal. So much of it. What is this? There's no rude illumination or risque signage at play. Nothing that's going to catch rather than the artwork. There's nothing light shining in that could disrupt somebody. I would suggest to you that this variance permitting these signs that are not in a not alter the essential character of the neighborhood that is the neighborhood. Upper Chai has a real nice, almost industrial commercial base there. You got established businesses that have been there a long time. You have like Mr. Krezzi's car dealerships that have been there a long time, but it's a corridor for commerce in my view. And you have the same thing on Chai Avenue, but now Chai Avenue's getting, I think it's great with the streetscapes and the lighting and the town center. Here, he has a hardship that's not created by him, but I think, and that's why I was asking to say, well, what do you do? What, like a lawyer, I could put a scales of justice up. The dentist down the street has a big toothbrush. Some things are easily a barber shop. the red and white swirl. But when you're someone who's selling creativity and you're selling ideas, the expression of those becomes a little bit more difficult than your typical sign. Because if you just had a pink Space Boy ink up there, how many people would even notice? How much? He's got to put something out that shows what he does. So he's asking for, I think, the least modification possible within the confines of the ordinance to be permitted to express his business in a positive commercial way. So that's why tonight he's asking that these variants be granted and they be permitted to really the relief being so is to leave the signs as is. Already up there and out for the zoning after. And Mr. Romali had gone for and put the violation in place, and we made an addendum to the application. They look, Father Romali's office has these violations. So please consider uplifting them as well. I think that's our application. Are there any questions for us? Yes.
Was the original plan was to just stick lights on the side of the building. I wanted to get through this first before I LED.
And get well permission for this
Yeah,
before
yeah.
anything else would
Yeah,
be done. Dave and I are working closely now.
The streets illuminated. When cars drive by, the headlights, that pink pops, and people. I mean, it is noticeable still in the evening.
Um, I'm for new business in this area. Okay, this area is in dire need of new business. What you presented was correct about that corridor, 452 corridor. It's not exactly a residential street.
Yeah, and I appreciate what you're saying because I'm an Aston guy.
Yeah,
And really pawn shops and and I'm not knocking any particular business, but what business in Upper Child?
we do. I
You
do.
got the shopping center filled up next. The Thriftway would be nice to get that filled up. And it's really completing with nice pieces coming in. Nice street shopping. And Dave Sanders, hopefully you'll agree.
It is. I'm for anybody that is looking to start a business and wants to come to Chichester, come on in. I'm a little torn here. I like the idea. I'm a young guy. I'm only in my mid-50s. So I think we have a couple common things here in play. I saw the music and, I'm into all that. I was in a band back in the day. We used to play, Milk Boy up in Ardmore. And so I get it. My question is, number one, so when you took the lease, did you were you made aware that with your particular business coming to that location, were you aware or were you made aware that there were certain things you're going to be able to do and not do to the frontage and to the building itself?
I was not aware. I had an understanding that as long as it was affixed to the building, nothing popping off or in the ground, then there wouldn't be an issue.
So that's I guess that's kind of the loophole, if you want to loosely use that word, is that from my understanding in the in the zoning, you're not allowed anything painted or affixed to the building as far as advertising above a certain size. So, so this kind of is, I'll use the word extreme, but I mean, I don't think it's extreme to the point of it's, you know, it's not insulting to people. It does show the creativity. I get that. I get all that. If it's on plywood or if it's on a skin and it's kind of adhered to the building, it is removable.
Yes.
But the fact that it does, you know, it kind of does violate what the code actually reads as far as the presentation of it. I mean, it covers the whole wall. So I'm kind of, and the only reason I have a problem with it is not because of the creativity aspect of it or, you know, kind of opens up a whole new world of advertising and what could possibly be, you know, looked at by other businesses go moving forward to this.
Got it.
So, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's kind of where, you know, like I said,
I wasn't
you're a
too
creative guy. I get it, and I love the whole business aspect, and I think, you know, I don't want to scare you away by my testimony by any means, but I kind of do want to find the ground, the central ground here that for me, that we can make this work. Okay, from both sides, from township side and from a business side.
I did my best to cover up the siding. I wasn't too crazy about it. That's why I
Yeah.
painted it. And
Agreed.
you know, people drive by in 2 seconds or let's say 4 seconds, they're already gone. So I really just wanted to do something that was going to attract attention to the people and them not wonder what it was that I was doing there.
And I get that. And you did that. You've achieved that. I mean, obviously, when you drive by, you do kind of get that, you get that feel for what this little shop now is, rather than having a little sign up in the front that says Elite Auto. And I get that. I don't know. Kind of lost track there. I had a couple more questions if you wanna jump in there, Tom.
I'm new to town. I maybe on my end, I've in Wilmington I've opened uh, I've had 3 locations at my other store, and I guess out of just I don't know. I guess I didn't really compare you know, Wilmington to Pennsylvania, and I was just for me the concern was just to make this place look as cool as possible. Um, I understand. COVID. That's why. That's why I opened in Pennsylvania. Yes.
So if I may, with all due respect, what you said is true, but also in that same ordinance is a section that allows for variances. Hardship is, and I was trying to say this in so many words and perhaps wasn't clear enough, is he's got a business that needs different signages permitted to allow it to succeed in this township or any other. In particular, allow it to succeed on that corridor, which is really commercial. And it's not where I drive down looking to stop in a store for a gallon of milk, or I'm not looking that way. That he has that. So will that affect the rest of Chai and its business areas? I can't see how, because the big shopping centers have this store, this store, this store, and then they have the label over top. They don't have a need for this kind of creative outlet or expression. But if he's not permitted a variance and just has a sign on the front of the building, the likelihood that he stays in business is a real question. So code allows for variances and all the things you work hard on as a board. And it also wants what you're saying. Well, what's unique about this? What's your hardship? The hardship is he has a business that has to be graphically displayed to say what they do. And the traffic's going by 2 or 4 seconds, and it's in an area that I can't see, and I'm very familiar. I grew up around. I can't see where another place would ask this board, oh, let me do the similar kind of thing, and then all of a sudden, because I understand you don't want the whole township plastered with signs, but in this instance, on that at that site, and given the nature of this business, that's why we're asking for the variance. And he can overcome the hardship that's created by location, speed of that road, and the fact that his business requires a different kind of, the police, it's easy. I pulled up here, I know where the police are. Township's easy, you got to see it. He doesn't have like a barbershop arm or a lawyer scholarship. So that's the point we were trying to make, and the one we're asking you to consider to meet the requirements of the variance. Not asking for just so much.
Hey, I have something. Dave, so this is not a retail store.
People don't go in and buy things and walk out with them the same day.
It's kind of more your showroom.
Yes, sir.
Gives people a chance to walk in, pick a shirt, cotton, nylon, this, that,
Place your order
place your order.
and then come and pick it up.
Right. So I think looking a little bit further into this, I'm trying to make it work, believe me. So this is kind of like, this is you're basically advertising your business. So you so this location now has become an advertisement for Spaceboy. Two sides in the front.
In a way, yes.
In a way, I mean, without the extent of this advertising, I mean, do you honestly feel you're not going to get people who are seeking you out? Because kind of the way I see it is, if I'm looking for graphic designer, and I get the whole Google thing, and I believe me, I heard your whole testimony. If I'm looking for a graphic designer, if I'm looking for like Dave Sanchez in Chichester, right? Chances are, if I never ever drove down that road and didn't see your building and your your advertising of your business, I would probably still be able to find you.
On
I mean,
Google?
word of mouth,
I'm
so-
new around here. I don't think word of mouth is working just yet.
yeah, no, but I mean, yeah, I'm sure you advertise somewhere, somehow, some way. I mean,
Social media is all I got.
right. So this is basically, so this is your advertising,
Exactly.
right? Which kind of, um, you know, it kind of comes into play a little bit too. Especially when once you start getting into the aspect as a board, you got to remember where we're coming from. So once you get into the aspect of, advertising, um, how much can a township allow? There's, that book's full of lighting, signage, height, distance, um, illumination, lumens, brightness, times, business hours, that we have to think about as a board with the residents and Upper Chichester in mind of that. So I'm kind of looking at it that way. Um, you know, I'm having a problem, not with anything other than it's kind of, we got the law book, and we kind of got to take that law, and then we need to kind of mold it into each scenario and situation. We kind of got to figure out what's best. So at this point, I don't know if, I don't believe that this will be a business killer if we had to transition to something else. I don't, I don't think that would be the case. Seems like you're a very aggressive business person, business-minded guy, ready to go out and do whatever you have to do, make your business succeed. I think we just need to kind of come to looking at this a little bit deeper through council, and me especially talking to the board here and kind of trying to figure out how we can make this work for township, for board, and for Space Boy moving on. Not, not, I understand you're in a 2-year lease with Mr. Carezzi, and I'm sure he's not going to, hand you money back if your business. So I don't want to see your business fail, and I don't want to see you move. I want to definitely see you succeed. I just think we need to kind of maybe take a look at this a little bit deeper, for me personally speaking. And I appreciate your testimony, and I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you. As far as location, or what do you mean? Um, it is my A plan. I haven't even thought about a B plan yet.
In reference to the benches, we do have benches in Upper Chichester that do have pay for advertising on them. All right, and they actually have to pay to advertise. The other thing is that in these small areas, for a business that has a small area, because of the COVID, people actually are putting benches outside of their business so that people can wait outside to go in when there is room. I just wanted to bring the fact up that there are benches here that you have to pay to advertise.
Also, I'd like to add to that, and thank you. Appreciate your service. Um, so, and I know you probably didn't mean it this way, but it kind of sounded like, um, you know, all of a sudden this business came into the township. It was a colorful building. It had this, um, uh, colorful spray painted kind of look and feel to it. And then all of a sudden, everybody swooped down on Space Boy to make sure that we just stamp them out. And, this isn't kind of what we want here. I can assure you I don't think that's what happened. I think just by the nature of the beast, Charlie Romali, who was he's the code enforcer. Thank you. Something like that. Boom, all of a sudden it pops up, right? He might have got a call. He might have seen it. Everybody drives by. At that point, he would look into the code book. He would read it and say, hey, I wonder if, that kind. And then what happens is he writes up the report, right? Comes to us, comes to the owner, comes shop owner, and that's kind of what happened. I don't know that anybody really, kind of swooped down to kind of stamp this business out. And you're correct. I mean, it's a changing world, right? It's a changing world. No, this township does not want to, see a new business come, fail, and leave. Certainly not what we want. Especially down on that end down there. It's this kind of a commercial end of the street, but it's not really. What's that zone down there? That's C2. So yeah, and there is, and like I said, what we have to kind of do is, I'm going to work real hard with this. I give you my word on that. But we got to kind of find that middle line for the residents to be satisfied with what we're doing and satisfied with, what is coming into the community. No, and 9 out of 10 times there won't be. You're not going to get, nobody's going to be standing in front of Space Boy saying, we don't want you here because we don't like what you did to the outside of the building. It's going to come through the legal, live wire, through code enforcer to board to, so, don't get me wrong. I do want to make this work, and I do want to figure out a way that it will work. I'm just telling you right now, my feeling after not talking to anybody on this board and hearing what Dave is presenting to us. I'm all for it, but you do have to understand that a variance, I think the signage on the front is actually the size of the sign. You know what I mean? It's too big. Right? Well, it's not really that big, but in the book, right, it says can only be, I'm not sure the numbers, I'm not even going to give you numbers, but has to be a certain dimension. So now, at which point we can say, hey, rather than 24 by 48, this is 30 by 60. We could, not a big deal. I think we could do that. Or, hey, it's not lit up, and Mr. Sanchez, he would like to illuminate it. And then at that point, we would say, yeah, I think, I don't see a problem with illumination. We just don't want you to put spotlights right out there. This is, there's a little bit more. There's a little bit more to expanding our horizon in this township, which I'm going to state it again, I am all for. You got to understand, this is rather than going twofold, this is going tenfold. Correct. But I to that point, and I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a police officer, and I respect both of them, but I think you would agree that there's certain things that you encounter in during your everyday job that you can use your discretion on, and that you just say, hey man, listen, here we go, I'll see you in court, because I can't really use my discretion. It's not up to me. It's not up to me. You didn't just not stop at the stop sign. You didn't just, turn on red when you weren't supposed to. This is a little bit bigger than that. You almost killed somebody. You're swerving all over the road. I can't really use my discretion at that point. I think that's kind of where we're at. But that being said, just like if you were to go to court and say, hey, Your Honor, this person, although they were in the wrong and they did wrong and I caught them in the act of doing something wrong, I just want to be a judge of their character. And they were very respectful to the badge. And they, once we got to where we were, they kind of were respectful to me and to the law. So that's kind of where I feel I'm at now. And I'm kind of saying, look, I want to make this work. And I like Dave's idea and his presentation and all. I just have to, I have to figure out to what point I can make the variance work for both parties, the township and Mr. Sanchez.
I would say that about 90% of the business that I've gotten over these past 2 months has been drive-by traffic. The first thing they say when they come in, oh my God, where did this thing come from? And I noticed it. I mean, I walked into a restaurant the other day. I was wearing one of these shirts, and they're like, "Oh, it's like, it's a thing you got to kind of like put out there and stamp into people's heads." And I'm not. It's kind of a scary thought, actually. Like, kind of dumbing down the signage a little bit, just because I don't really know. I mean, that 90% that I rely on is it could get sliced in half.
Sorry. Would Mr. O'Malley have had such a problem if it was just done like a plain sign with just plain lettering, and not something like this that looks like graffiti? It's not. Plain lettering. I have to wonder about that. This is what I used to do in the 80s. Without computers and all that, they weren't invented for this stuff yet. And
Mr. Crescenti, if the board would be inclined to vote on the application this evening, if you would sign a waiver of the right to receive a decision. What's the number one? This is in red. Excuse me, 1 second. 10. Yes. This is the 960. Yes, please, take your time.
Here, you have another one you want to sign that.
Why?
For you? for your copy?
Here's the board. Reflect that Mr. Waive the right to receive a written decision. So if the board would be inclined to vote on the application.
Yes, deny.
On the only road, I don't think there's
Is there any opportunity for adjustment?
Oh, absolutely.
Please,
You can.
Yep.
We talked about that.
please.
Definitely.
You can follow the ordinance and put signs up that are the right size. You put a sign up that's the wrong size, where Maui will reject it.
So maybe my question was, is there any room for discussion prior to any further action? Not so much pre-approval, but
As far as a board, no, I would have to say no, but as far as on a personal level or on a street level, I'd love to work with you. And maybe we really,
But
we,
it's gotta be rejected by Charlie again. In other words, if you follow everything that he says, there's other signage
Yeah,
that you can put up. There's different places you can place signs.
Yeah.
And you probably know those by reading our ordinance.
yeah, I'm thinking if we have the one, certain things.
Good.
yeah, I just like to say something, Dave. I like it. I like your brother-in-law. Your fiance, good luck. I'd really like to see this work. I just think that, and obviously we had a mixed vote here. I'd really like to see it work. I just think that, and I get the whole, next generation kind of moving forward, younger people are, that's what they like they like to see things, and it's more a visual world today. I just felt that the enforcement of the code and what you were asking for tonight was just, it was just a little more extreme than a simple variance to what the code says. I hope you kind of understand that.
But is there some sort of middle ground?
Oh, there is. There is a middle ground. Yes, absolutely.
According to the code, that sign is gonna be this big on that side of the building. I mean, that's not good enough. So I can't afford to come here and do this again. So what I'm asking you, is there a middle ground, is there something I can do? Stay on like the larger side, but maybe not as extreme.
Well, yeah, I mean, all I could do is offer you some, outside of, off the board kind of already made our vote on it. I think there are a couple things that you can do that you and council might be able to discuss and kind of figure out. And I hope it works for you.
Well, thank you. That concludes my business, my excuse, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
It is closed.
Excuse me.